Come on, Cambridge! Send them on forward!
Mr. Overton, will this defeat by Oxford oblige you to reconsider your tactics?
No, sir. We have been bested by a fine team. However, our own style of play has
Then
served us
is
well.
it your opinion, sir, that the unfortunate absence of Godfrey Staunton is wholly to blame?
The want of a crack international such as Godfrey Staunton was certainly felt, and
at every instance of the game, the lack of combination in the three-quarter line and their weakness both in attack and defence more than neutralised the efforts of Cambridge's heavy and hard-working pack.
It's been a blank day for all of us. I have covered some considerable ground, and several villages have each proved disappointing. But we shall change that. Is there a telegram for me?
I opened it. Ask for Pompey from Jeremy Dixon Trinity College. Does Overton never send a straightforward telegram?
Oh, it's clear enough. An answer to my question this morning. I'll just send round a note to Trinity.
Holmes, if Staunton was kidnapped for a betting swindle, there can now be no further reason to detain him. I mean, since the match is lost.
Well, we shall know better tomorrow. Early to bed, Watson, for it will be an eventful day. Fine morning, Watson.
Yeah. Dear heavens, Holmes.
Oh, no, my dear fellow. Your concern is most flattering, but there is really no cause for alarm. The syringe is not an instrument of evil, not on this occasion.
Why are you preparing it?
The deed is done, Watson. The syringe is the key which will unlock our mystery.
If you have not been drugging yourself, I hope at least that you have not administered that devilish substance to another.
I advise you to eat a good breakfast. I propose to get upon Dr. Armstrong's trail today, and I will not stop for food or rest until I run him to his burrow.
In that case, we'd best carry our breakfast with us. Doctor is making an early start.
Let him go.
And what do you have in mind?
He'll be clever if he can go where I cannot follow him.
I must say you seem unjustifiably confident.
When you finish, I'll introduce you to another detective.
Another?
Yes, a very eminent specialist in the work that lies before us. Oh, a dog. Not a dog, Watson. Pompey is the prince of the local draghounds. No very great flyer, but a staunch hound on the scent.
He will need to be. Dr. Armstrong is more than an hour on us already.
You have no faith, my dear fellow. I have merely to waft a handkerchief in front of Pompey's sensitive nose and... Yes!
I hope the leash is strong.
Yes, strong enough.
Slow down, sir.
What have you done, Holmes? We must have been dragged 5 miles already.
I had resort to a threadbare and venerable device. Useful upon occasion, however. I walked into Armstrong's yard this morning with my syringe full of aniseed. A draghound will follow that scent from Cambridge to John O'Groats.
Oh, I sincerely hope not.
With a syringe full of aniseed on his rear wheel, our friend Armstrong would have to drive through the Cam before he could shake Pompey off his trail. And this will be where the cunning rascal gave me the slip the other night.
Oh, I will catch up with you, Holmes. I have a stone in my boot.
So, we are now in quite the opposite direction to that in which we started.
No wonder your inquiries led to nothing yesterday. Among those northern villages.
And this detour has been entirely for our benefit, Watson. And I would like to know the reason for such elaborate deception.
I fear it is all too plain. Armstrong has Godfrey Staunton prisoner in one of those Fenland cottages.
Hold, Pompey. Hold, wait. You hear it?
Armstrong's broom.
I must have caught up with him. Well done, Pompey.
No, Holmes. He's coming towards us.
And he's on his way home. Quick, Watson, quick. He must not find us here, or we're done. Pompey, come on. The bridge will give us some cover. I do not see Armstrong, Watson.
No. I have a boot full of water.
I spotted him in the carriage. Shoulders bowed, his head sunk on his hands. Watson, he was the very image of distress. Though I fear there's some dark ending to our quest.
Well, cannot be long before we know it.
Come, Pompey.
And so, this is the end of our journey.
Yes, little doubt of it. See where our friend Hewitt turned the carriage while Armstrong was inside the cottage.
It is a secluded spot, Holmes, and an ideal one for hiding a man.
Well, we wouldn't have found it without Pompey here. Well, stay, Pompey. Good boy, good boy.
There may be nobody inside.
Well, then our efforts will have been all for nothing.
Dear goodness, Holmes. What on earth was... Armstrong is coming back.
Quick, Watson! Upstairs, as fast as you can.
This door. Oh, no.
Doctor, will you...
We're too late. There is no pulse.
Sir. My dear sir. Are you Mr. Godfrey Staunton?
Yes, Doctor. Yes, I am. You're too late.
There is nothing I can do for her. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Staunton, there are no words that will make such a grief easier to bear. But you have many friends, sir, whose concern for you is the reason...
So, gentlemen, you have attained your end.
She is dead, Armstrong. Your colleagues have arrived too late.
My colleagues,
I think we are a little at cross purposes.
you have chosen a particularly delicate moment for your intrusion.
Had we arrived a little earlier, we might have
I
saved
would
her.
not brawl in the presence of death. But if I were a younger man, I can assure you that your monstrous conduct would not pass with impunity.
They have done all they could, Armstrong. You yourself could not have
Mr.
saved...
Staunton.
We have each some light to shed upon this miserable affair, Dr. Armstrong. If you could step downstairs with us...
Do you really think we should leave, Mr. Staunton?
Go. Go. I want only to be with her.
Well, gentlemen?
When a man is lost, Doctor, it is my duty to ascertain his fate.
And doubtless you are to be paid handsomely for it.
I wish you to understand that I am not, as you seem to believe, employed by Lord Mount James.
No?
No, my sympathies in this matter are entirely against that nobleman. We have been seeking Mr. Godfrey Staunton. He is found, and there, as far as I'm concerned, the matter ends.
After all, what is he to you?
He is a young man who has lost his wife.
Of course, his wife.
Just so. It seems you know it all.
Well,
They have been married less than a year. Godfrey met her while he was lodging at her father's house in London. They became passionately attached almost at once.
She is very beautiful.
As she was good, Doctor. And her intelligence, too, was the equal of her beauty. No man need be ashamed of such a wife, and you may tell that to Lord Mount James.
I have said, Doctor, we've been instructed by Mr. Staunton's friend and team captain, Mr. Cyril Overton.
Yes, but it is Mount James who is the cause of all this. Mount James, who would have made an end of Godfrey's inheritance if he knew of this marriage to a lodging housekeeper's daughter.
I can well believe it, of that exceedingly unpleasant old person.
Mr. Holmes, once such a whisper gets about, it is not long before everyone has heard it.
I assure you, I am much more anxious to hush up private scandals than to give them publicity.
I hope so, sir. Godfrey both needs and deserves that. I've known him well. He has many excellent qualities, and I love him for them.
Your conduct has shown us that, Doctor.
I've merely done what I could to help him keep their secret. They chose to live here, far from the town, that their home should not be discovered. It is a disgraceful thing that their honest love should have been forced into hiding from that miser Monk James. It is thanks to Godfrey's own discretion, not mine, that we have succeeded until now.
As to discretion, Doctor, you have my word on it.
But there are newspapers, sir.
I'll cooperate in keeping the facts from them.
I thank heaven that I turned my carriage back, or I should have persisted in my judgment of you, sir. But I could not leave poor Godfrey alone in such a plight. Like you, I was too late.
Mrs. Staunton died just before we came to her.
It was consumption, of the most virulent kind. The poor boy was half crazed with grief when he learned of it. A terrible blow.
There is none more agonizing. I know it.
The secret marriage, the loneliness of this cottage added to their misfortune. Hewitt and I were the only people who could offer assistance. He's gone now to the village for help.
It will be wasted effort, I'm afraid.
Indeed, Doctor, we have laboured in vain. I would gladly have treated the poor girl without a fee, but Godfrey wouldn't hear of it. He had little money, but he was rich in pride and honesty. Well, his 13 guineas may help with the funeral.
It must have been at the crisis of her illness that Mr. Staunton had to play the varsity match.
Yeah, he could not get out of it, not without explanations which would reveal the secret.
Poor man.
I tried to cheer him up by telegram,
And he replied to you.
imploring me to do all I could.
Stand by us, for God's sake.
Ah, you've seen it. How, I do not know. Perhaps I should have been more honest. Told Godfrey how urgent the danger really was, but he could have done no good here.
And who communicated the truth to him? Hewitt?
Hewitt? He's never left Cambridge. He has driven me here every day since the poor girl fell ill. Whatever could give you that idea?
A coincidence. Nothing.
No, I sent the truth to the girl's father. He went to Godfrey at the hotel. And that young man has remained here since Thursday night, kneeling at the end of his wife's bed, until this morning, when death has put an end to her sufferings.
I speak for us both, Dr. Armstrong. You can rely on our absolute discretion.
You are a good fellow, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson?
Dr. Armstrong?
Come, Watson.
The agony, Holmes, on that young man's face.
Yes. Heavens, but after that house of grief, the air is sweet.
Yes. And there is a beautiful young woman who will never breathe it.
In The Missing Three-Quarter, Sherlock Holmes was played by Clive Merrison and Dr. Watson by Michael Williams, with Peter Jeffrey as Dr. Armstrong. Staunton was played by Matthew Morgan, Overton by Robert Portal, Lord Mount James by Peter Howell, the Post Office Clerk by Cyril Jenkins, the Porter by Philip Anthony, and Hewitt by Steve Hodson. Other parts were played by members of the cast. The violinist was Leonard Friedman. The Missing Three-Quarter was dramatized for radio by Roger Danes and directed by Patrick Rayner.